Hmm. That's annoying. Hmm. Hi. I will start talking in just a couple minutes when more people come in here. I'm gonna wait till there's at least 4 people. I think that will be appropriate. Oh no. I have some radiant hair. Well, thank you. No, it's like the only part that you can see, and I was trying to do this in landscape mode, as looks much better, but my cell phone had other plans, so I guess I'm stuck in portrait, and I'm gonna look like a total amateur. But oh well. Okay, 3 people. Well, I guess I'll start. I'll start then. Um, well, okay, so I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Beetlejuice. I haven't. It's been a little while. Is there a way to lock your screen? I don't know. Is it that bad? I need to change it. Um, okay, Beetlejuice. So, yeah, it's actually uh, one of my favorite movies. But it's been a little while, maybe like a few years since I've watched it, and I'm not sure I really quite understood it, and I'm still not sure that I understand it now. But my take, uh, hold on, I have to pay for my parking. Yeah, so here's my take. Okay, so young, like traditional couple is living in this house all by themselves. Like they're supposedly barren. They can't have any children. So there's this woman who is trying to get them to sell the house because she says it's too big. She's a realtor. It's worth too much. So basically, this woman stands to make a big profit from this movie. I think they're supposed to be in rural Connecticut, so there's definitely a market there with the whole New York crowd. But this couple, like, it's Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin, and they are basically, country bumpkins, or, the goy. I get, like, that's kind of what I saw, because later on these basically New York urban Jews, even if they're not really supposed to be Jews, move move into their house. It's a really interesting contrast. So anyway, they are just, living life, happy, whatever, wearing like floor length Laura Ingalls Wilder style prairie dresses, just being like, the biggest stereotype of country person as possible. So they are driving, and then they die, and what happens then? Yeah, and then they go somewhere, like they're not sure if they're in heaven or hell, but basically they're stuck in their attic, and I think that they're supposed to be in some sort of limbo like area because they can't leave. It's not torture, but it's not good. They're not in a good situation. And then these people buy their house. The realtor was able to sell this giant house to these New York urbanite, megalomaniac artist, banker, awful, awful, like godless, urban New York people. Whatever. I don't know. It was interesting because they didn't. At first, I was like, oh, I get it. It's like they're supposed to be Jewish or whatever, but I'm not sure because the last name, like the Dietz, like I'm not sure that is what that is. But you're funny. Yeah, they're just like these soulless modernists. So it's interesting. The husband, who's like this financier, rich guy with red hair, he wants to leave New York because he's like idealizing this country lifestyle with the big country house, and it's very relaxing. You guys have such funny comments. Um, yeah, it's thanks. Some people tell me I laugh too much, but okay. Anyway, back to the point. So yeah, these horrible modernists with like a goth daughter who is suicidal, and no one is paying attention to that fact. Played by Winona Ryder. She does a really great job, by the way. She's supposed to be like, I think she actually was like 14 years old when she was in this movie. She's kind of the main character because she she's she's obviously like a total weirdo, but the implication is that it's because her parents have their values all turned upside down. Her mom is this really awful, awful modern sculptor who is basically failed. Her sculptures are just like the most horrendous, modern, abstract garbage you've ever seen in your life, and they're making no secret out of it in the movie. And it's interesting because everyone thinks Hollywood, oh Hollywood, they always demonize the red-blooded American Christians, but this movie is really not. They really do not make these like urbanite, godless, modernist people. They really do not portray them well. They are basically evil. So it's almost like these, country people are like being punished. These people come into their house and they start renovating it. They make it into this absolutely heinous, like postmodern, dark, post-apocalyptic nightmare. You should look up photos of it because it's like very 80s, but it's just absolutely awful. Like no one would like that. But the funny thing is that was actually popular. Like the whole movie is like making fun of these people for their, stupid taste and whatever. But what's funny is that type of art, that type of garbage art popular, and people do actually take it seriously. But in the movie, like, the whole point is that no one does. These people are supposed to be just awful. So basically, the Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin, the country people, they're trying to scare them out of their house because they're ghosts. They figure out that they're ghosts, and everything that they try to do to scare them away like doesn't work. Like these people are basically completely desensitized. They try to scare the woman in the middle of the night, but she's on Valium, so she doesn't even notice. And everything that they try to do to scare them actually makes them more interested because they're like, oh, we could sell this evidence of the supernatural. Like they're trying to commodify it. And it's interesting because it's like, why are these, this good married couple good with good red-blooded American values. Why are they being punished with these people in their house? So then in comes the main character. No, he's not really the main character, but Beetlejuice, who is, I can't remember who plays it. Michael Keaton. Yeah, Michael Keaton plays Beetlejuice, and he keeps basically trying to get Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin to pay for his services to basically scare these people out of their house. And they're reluctant because he's a total weirdo. But then after they try scaring them all away and it fails, they decide, okay, we'll try this guy Beetlejuice. So they call Beetlejuice in and they meet him, and he's just like absolutely degrading, disgusting, like foul-mouthed, bad-mannered, like just, like he's grabbing her, grabbing the woman and just being like a total sleaze. And I couldn't quite figure out, like, this guy, he's not supposed to be exactly like the embodiment of evil. Like, I'm not sure he's, like, he may be a little bit diabolical, but I'm not, maybe he is supposed to be kind of like the devil. Like the devil, like they need to make a deal with the devil to get their life back. So yeah, they're just horrified by him though, because he's just a total sleaze, and it's like he's not. I think the best way to describe him is actually like uncivilized, uncivilized, and like like if they pay him or use his services at all, like he would basically drag them into the gutter, or they would have to be on his level. And that's basically what happens, because they employ him to try to scare these people away, but what he does to them, the main characters, like they don't really agree with it. It's too harsh. He almost kills the dad that moved in. He almost kills him, and he scares the living hell out of Winona Ryder, who they've kind of taken her under their wing. Like they cockroach juice. Yeah, she's kind of like the daughter that they never had, and they probably do a better job parenting her than her parents really ever did, which is sad. But it's kind of like, this is how people should be raised. I think that's what they're trying to say, is that these urbanite people, and the mom is just totally caught up in trying to be famous, and she's just totally ignores her daughter. She's totally horrible to her. And I think the point is, like, the daughter needed some real, genuine, traditional Christians to come in and rescue her, basically. But basically, I wasn't totally satisfied, because at the end, basically they all get rid of Beetlejuice because they find out he's really bad, and then they all decide, like, these people are still dead, but they decide that they're all just gonna live there in this house together, and that just seems weird. Like, they're going to co-parent this Winona Ryder character, and it just, I wasn't really happy with the ending. Like, it didn't really seem to get solved, because maybe her parents were like reformed, but it didn't really go into that. It didn't really seem like it. It just seemed like, okay, now these people have to just put up with these other, urbanites in their house. It seems weird to me. Anyway, that's basically what I wanted to say about it. What are you guys saying? Great analysis. Yeah, Beetlejuice. And it does seem like they're like there is like this Jew goy contrast going on. And I mean, the thing is, I don't know how many people really pick up on this. I see this in all sorts of movies, by the way. A lot of the Coen brothers, movies, they make it really explicit, like these, you know, deep differences between the Jew and the Goy, like in A Serious Man. The neighbor is like this guy who brings home like a dead deer on his truck, and you can just see like this little Jewish guy's reaction, and it's pretty funny actually. Yeah, Barton Fink, and yeah, it's interesting. When I was younger, I didn't really pick up on this stuff, but ever since I've been in in this sphere, like these things just jump out at me constantly. And I've seen Beetlejuice so many times, but I never had like analyzed it in those terms before. And even if the characters weren't supposed to be Jewish, they definitely had a Jewish thing going on. Like, you know, Manhattan. They're from New York City. They have red hair. They are really into modern art and like making a lot of money. And the daughter is like a total freak, and no one cares. And sadly, like I think that's what happens to a lot of secular Jews. Like they've thrown off their religion, and they're left with like worshiping Moloch, and it's sad, really. And that's kind of what I saw in the movie, but I don't know. It was interesting. Babs said, "Yup." I'm always worried. Babs is always the one who I'm always most worried about, like offending, and that seems weird, but I shouldn't be because, ooh, I think we've we've seen it all. We've heard it all at this point. Like, is anyone going to be offended by anything ever? And there's a lot of traffic, so I guess I have to. Don't worry, you've already offended me. You don't want to cross Babs. GM for the people. It's been a while. I mean, yeah, that was really what I had to say about that movie. I mean, I would recommend everyone watch it, and if it's been a while, this is one of those movies I think everyone's seen at least once. For me, I've seen it a lot, but if you haven't seen it and you're intrigued, I highly recommend. It's a total classic, and you can't go wrong. Even if, and maybe your take would be completely different, but I'm not sure because the stereotypes are extremely exaggerated, extremely. Like down, especially the way the Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin are dressed throughout the entire movie. Like he's wearing like a flannel, like this was before flannel was cool, but he's wearing like this flannel button up, very straight laced, and yeah, she's wearing like a prairie dress. It's very not ever something you would see people dressed like that in New York City. They almost look like they're Amish. Like it's exaggerated. It's ridiculous. Before flannel was cool. Yep. I once met a top. Well, I don't know. I think yeah. I mean that's all I really had to say about that. Yeah, exaggerated goys and exaggerated Jews. It really is. It was kind of absurd. It was kind of funny actually. I wasn't even planning on watching this, but my husband turned it on, and I was sitting like at our dining room table, and I just heard the music. I was like, "Oh, Beetlejuice!" Like I'm definitely watching this. So he was trying to lure me in, and it worked. It really worked because I love that movie, and I think that's Tim Burton's best movies. People who make these movies know exactly what they're doing. Yeah, you're right, Babs. I wasn't paying attention to the names in the credits, but I'm sure none of it would surprise me because it's always like that. I wonder if the Chinese can tell the Jews and Goys apart. That's funny. I mean, I guess like if everyone, well, actually, I've been starting to think. I think Jews are shorter in stature on average. That's a big difference physically. But if you had everyone dressed the same, the Chinese probably wouldn't be able to. I don't think so, at least. But yeah, you just don't see many Jews like dressed in, Laura Ashley style prairie dresses. Just doesn't happen. Floral. I remember my mom had a term for it. If something was like floral and like a country style, Um, I can't even remember what she would call it. Goyish, she would say. And I didn't really understand like what she meant by that until I got older. But that's how they talk. If you can tell the difference between Southeast and Northeast, I can't tell the difference between Asians at all. I really cannot tell the difference between any. I guess I can tell the difference between Southeast Asians and like you know Chinese, Japanese, but I can't tell the difference between Chinese and Japanese at all. I actually think Africans are easier to tell. They actually have, I think they have more variation in their skin tone, and you can always tell like an African African apart from like an African American or Somalian or whatever. Yeah, the people who make these movies. I'm trying to think of another. I saw another one recently that was really like kind of exaggerated in this type of thing. I can't remember. Can't remember exactly what it was. It wasn't the Coen brothers because I already mentioned that. So yeah, if you guys have anything else you want to talk about or ask me, go ahead because that was basically it. Otherwise, I'm just gonna probably end this. Anyone? Anyone? Watch in Star Wars. I watched Dune the other day. I think um, I think Kevin was talking about it. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I guess it's Luke Ford's stream is probably starting now, so see you guys later. Dune is good.